Next on the list is number 17, Alex Iwobi.
Ooh. I'm going to give him a 7 as well. I thought he has improved. I think we could have utilized him more, specifically in matches where we went with that like El Nini and Guendouzi central mid, because we had really nothing creative happening on the pitch, and I think he could have helped with that. There were matches where I thought we could have brought him on and he would have made a difference. He kind of appeared to be like that super sub, but again, he didn't do enough. He gets into the 18 and then he will fuck up his step over, or he doesn't find that crucial pass. He doesn't put the shot on goal with power. And so I just don't think he's there yet. I don't think he helps us challenge with a City or a Tottenham. So or Liverpool. So I'm going to give him a 7. I think there's a lot to come from him, and we saw improvements, but just not enough.
Yeah, we got a negative 6.8 from Becca. We have a 6.5 from Michael Hernandez, a 6 from Matt Walker, 6.5 from Winston. We have Fredo, who's giving Rob Holding a 6.5, and he's marking him down for missing the second half of the season. He has to fight for his place better, apparently. So, Iwobi, some stats, by the way. Most substituted off player, 15 games. Substituted on 13 games. 7 assists, ranked tied for second on the team. He was very well behaved. Only one of our 3 players not to get a card of any kind the whole Premier League season, whatever that's worth. But Lee, how do you think his season ends? How would you compare it to last season?
I think it's been much improved from last season. I felt up until Christmas he was probably our second best player. He was playing really, really well. Again, you can turn around and say that it's not quite enough end product, but then I look at the games against Liverpool, when he put that ball in for Maitland-Niles, the one for Aubameyang against Burnley. So he has the capabilities to do it, but just doesn't do it enough. And for me, I'm going to go 6.6 in the end, because I felt that his season was tailed off like a lot of them, if I'll be honest. I felt like towards the end has not really been in it much, but I think there's been a lot of improvement on Iwobi, and I think it's a big season for him next season, because you can't keep saying, oh, it's potential. He's got to produce it. And I think that, the next season is going to be a real key season for him.
Funny you say that, because Fredo asks, is next season make or break for Iwobi at Arsenal?
Yeah, I think it is, yeah, definitely.
I mean, you can't just improve a little bit and a little bit and a little bit, or stay the same and be around for 4 or 5 years, unless you're Mesut Ozil, I guess. Yeah, Iwobi, at times he comes on the pitch as a substitute and seems to be the only one who's you cannot miss him, because he's just like a bull in a china shop. And I like that about him. I like his intensity. His taking on players one-on-one about 40 or 50 yards from goal was spectacular this season. It's just what happened after that was less than spectacular. It didn't surprise me that he has as many assists as he has. It disappoints me greatly that he has as few goals as he had. And frankly, one of those goals, which I know that was in a cup game, was accidental. I think that was in the Europa League. So Iwobi, I would have given him last season probably a 3.5. I backed him to come good under Emery this season. I think he's improving, but I'm still going to give him a 5.8 for this season. With that, we will move on to Bernd de Nacho. Nacho Monreal, old faithful, chugging away at 33, our second oldest non-keeper player. We love this guy, but his play on the pitch, Andy, this season?
4.
Wow, that bad. Okay. Any desire to expand on that, or are we kicking it to Lee? 4. Okay, Lee, you gonna agree with him on this?
No, I'm not going to agree. I think not played as enough as he should do, but I think he never lets the team down. But I think he's just starting to show that there's signs that he's not quite there now. So I'm going to go, I think, a bit harsh but 5 for me.
Harsh. I'll go 5.
He's like, oh my God, a 4? I'm going to go with a 5.
Here's why, and I would say this. If you go back to every goal Nacho Monreal was on the pitch that Arsenal conceded, his arms will go up faster than Mustafi's with what the fuck just happened. And that's why...
Who do we blame this on?
Exactly. And so that's why I'm giving him a 4. I love him. I love his tenure for Arsenal. I don't think we should see him in an Arsenal shirt next season.
All right, fair enough. Everyone knows I love me some Nacho, even though I can't eat them anymore. But you guys were way harsh with your 4 and your 5. I'm going to give him a 5.1. Grant says seemed like he hit a wall this season. He could hit a wall and make his face look better. But as a footballer, and this comes from Mr. Pitowitz, Mr. Brad Pitowitz. But anyway. Nacho 5.1. Bernd Leno, we will start with our resident goalkeeper, Andy, on what many may say is our signing of the season instead of Torreira. What do you think?
Could be. I'm going to give him an 8. I think when he came in, everyone was on Twitter, all the dossier experts saying that he was a shit keeper and that too many of his decisions led to goals and he made a lot of mistakes.
Call him out by name, won't you?
And frankly, no, because it wasn't just Drew. There were a lot of people. And I think even Drew is one of the first people to put his hand up and go, I was very, he's had a great season. Listen, at the end of the day, I think that he saved us more than he hurt us. He's getting used to the team in front of him. He had revolving center backs around him all the time. He has center backs that he cannot trust. Mustafi went to ground almost too often, and as a keeper, that is fucking annoying because you don't know if you should be on your line, coming off your line, God knows what. So I think he deserves an 8. Maybe he could have been our signing of the season. I think we got a steal. If he were to go this summer, Mike, with that performance, you put probably a 50 million plus price tag on him. He's young, he's attractive, and what more can
she didn't actually point it out, but we know that she.
We know what Becca's thinking. That's why she listens to us, because we get Becca, and we're not afraid to tell her when men are sexy.
Lee, would you like to follow that up?
Where can you?
Would you like to say hello to Becca, by the way?
Say what?
Would you like to say hello to Becca?
Hello, Becca. You're all right, yeah. I wonder what she's saying.
I give Becca a 12.0, by the way.
12 points. Is she a 10, is she?
She's a 12.
A 12.
Anyway.
Even better.
Andy and I are jockeying for who doesn't, for who's going to come closer to still not even having her look at us when we go to Colorado. But anyway,
she wants to join us on the pod. We're gonna.
We're gonna make that happen.
We've got something special lining up. So
fingers
crossed.
Yeah, you've got something special lining up.
I meant for the pod.
All right, Lee.
Listen, I think Leno. I'm going to be honest. Prove me wrong. I felt that. I didn't know if he was going to be a good. Do you know what? I didn't know nothing about him. So I think sometimes that's a good thing because you didn't know nothing about him. So you can't be disappointed or you can't be hyped up. And what I've seen, I've been more than impressed with. Let's face it, he's playing in front of a diabolical back four, which doesn't help. When you look back at our greatest goalkeeper, David Seaman, he had a back four in front of him that was brilliant, and I feel that if that can be improved, then I think Leno will be improved. For me, again, one of the more he's played, the better he's become. And I totally agree with what Andy said there. He has saved us on more occasions than he's let us down, So I'm going to go 7.9 for Leno.
All right. Signed for about £21 million, 32 appearances, came on for Petr Cech in Game 7 of the season against Watford and played every minute of the season from that point on. 7 clean sheets. 10 or more, I don't know. They say, goalkeepers, when Cech was signed, they said, he'll get you 10 or 12 points in the league. I don't know if Cech got us points in the league. I mean, if Leno got us a ton of points in the league, but he definitely saved us from losing games worse than we would have. And maybe, we didn't win 3 points because of him a whole lot of times, but we certainly didn't drop points in games that we could have because, he
double save against Spurs.
Double save against Spurs. It was
really changed the tide. Yeah.
Unbelievable. I'm just going to put him up to 8, Mike, just for that.
You're going to match Andy then? Yeah, I mean, I would have to say what was said about him at the beginning of the season by the Dossier brothers was, that his decision making was suspect, but his shot stopping instincts were amazing. I think we've seen that actually come exactly true this season. When he's had time, he hasn't necessarily done the greatest. When he has had the instinct saves, he's been the best keeper in the league, much better than De Gea even is.
Yeah, and also, Michael, which is a good point. I think he made a mistake against Wolves, and I remember it. Everybody around me was disappointed he let it in, and so that's a good sign, if you know what I mean. Like, all of a sudden these expectations have gone up. So I think it's been it's been the standout signing of the season for us. And as you say, and I think that my mate Tony said it. If you put him in with De Gea, Alisson, and Kappa, and the Man City goalkeeper, whose name has just gone past me, Edison. They're all in like the 40, 50 million pound to 80 million pound bracket. He's in that company, and you wouldn't flinch if we paid that sort of money for him, looking at that company and what he's done. So that, from that point of view, fantastic.
Yeah, for value,
fantastic.
The best. Our two best signings of the season probably came at a ridiculously good value. And if Arsenal gets back to that trend and is successful with it more often than they're not, I have no problem buying 25 million players.
And as we were just saying, like, when you look at the four players in front of him, when he gets a stable back line, all you need him to do is shot stop. And if that's what he's better at, then that's all we need from him.
Yeah, exactly.
This season, he had to do way more than that. And we saw mistakes happen. But at the end of the day, when you're facing 15 shots in a match, you're going to make a mistake or two. Against a better defender, when that number goes down and you're just looking for him to save the shots, he's going to be absolutely tremendous for us. And I think that based off of this season and how poor this team were in the back, I think he's got that Lehman Seaman trajectory where you give him a better back four, we're going to see a keeper that will go in the hallways of the Emirates and be one of those, because he is young, Mike. He's only, 24 years old? I mean, that's
he's got a chance
incredible.
To be here for 10 years.
Oh, absolutely he does. He could be our Petr Cech that Chelsea had. I mean, he's showing that at a young age. And as a keeper, if you've got it at 24, you're going to have it at 25, and it's only going to get better. You mature with age as a goalie. So we've got something special on our hands, which is nice to say.
Yeah, I'm going to give him an 8.4. I love the guy, and it's finally something we do not. I mean, we're now talking about who our backup is going to be next season instead of our number one, and that's a pleasure. I'm hoping we can do this one really quickly. Other than the stats,
sorry, Leno is 27.
Oh, okay. Well, he can still be our goalie for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Shkodran Mustafi, third most Premier League minutes played this season behind Alba and Laka on the team. While Socrates had the second most slide tackles on the team with 35, Mustafi led the team with 2,487. He did lead the team with 123 aerial battles won, more than double Socrates, 161 clearances, almost 50% more than Socrates, 106 headed clearance, ninth best in the Premier League. So his stats would argue that he might actually have had a better season than most people are. But we don't watch stats. We watch the game.
If you had
our defense was awful this season.
Yeah. Statistically, Mike, he's amazing. As a player, he seemed to be dog shit. I'm going to give him a 6.5 only because statistically he is a good player. I want to know the stat, though, of his mistakes that have led to goals.
There's actually a Premier League stat for that, and the official stat for that is 1.
So there you go. So at the end of the day,
it can't be true. I mean,
but Mike, let me ask you and Lee both this question, right? At the end of the day, are we falling into the Ozil trap and Xhaka trap of who do we hate the most? Social media said it's Mustafi, so we all jump on that. I get that we've seen him play poorly, but statistically, and Danny's pointed this out before too, statistically he's not that bad of a player. If you're telling me that only one mistake has led to a goal, then why do we all hate him so much?
Well, I mean, I can think of a penalty that led to a goal. I think that was in the Palace game that we were at.
Right. So I'm going to give him a 6.5. I don't think, Lee, what do you think?
No, I'm with you. I don't think he's as bad as what he's been. he has made mistakes. One goal he's made a mistake from that. Well, I don't believe that for 1 minute, because
I don't know how that stat is calculated, but
like the step, the one for Zaha when he steps out is another one. You know what I mean? Just off the top of my head. So that's 2 against Palace, and we haven't even started yet. Give me another 10
the
minutes.
league leader is 2.
But,
so I don't.
Yeah, so the fact of the matter is he has good games when he defends and plays well, and then he has bad games. The trouble with Mustafi is he's too inconsistent. 1 minute he has a good game, and then and I've watched him quite a lot over the last few games. There's games when I thought, do you know what, he isn't a bad defender. He's aggressive in the tackle. He makes good tackles. For being not such a big central defender, he wins a lot of battles in the air. But he's just not what Arsenal need and require. We need someone big, strong and horrible. And unfortunately, he's not that. And he does make the mistakes. And, I've seen, to be honest, boys, I've seen Socrates make, over the last 5 or 6 games, more mistakes than Mustafi. And then Mustafi makes a mistake and everybody just jumps onto Mustafi, you know what I mean? And I think, if Socrates had done that, you know what I mean, we'd all be going mad. So I get what they're saying. It's just not good enough for the standard that we need, and that's my problem. If he was in, going back, Sol Campbell and Tony Adams in their prime were in the team, and he was backing up them, we'd be thinking he's a good backup player, and that's what he is. Unfortunately, he's not a main one for us. For that, 5 for me. He's just not quite what at the required standard for an Arsenal defender, and that's it. And which, by the way, has dropped down considerably.
You have to choose between him and Socrates to be one of the center partnership next season. Which one do you choose?
It's a difficult one. They're both, you know what I mean? I would probably go Socrates because he's just got that little bit more of a demeanour about him. Presence, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mike, according to transfermarket.co.uk,
they have Mustafi valued at like almost 30.
Yeah, his market value is 27 million. Obviously the team came in.
Sell.
Yeah, right. But but the question is, can we find a replacement for Mustafi around 27 million?
Yeah, they're out there.
I mean, if they are, great. But
I would like to see Chambers come in and do that job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If Mustafi is still in an Arsenal shirt next season, I'm not going to be upset. If he's in an Arsenal shirt next season and he's starting almost every match, that's when I'm going to have some frustration.
Brilliant. I would literally walk down to Bournemouth and offer them that 27 million for Nathan Ake right now. And if they ask for a little bit more, I'd give it to them. But Mustafi, for me, I've tweeted a lot of, we've been tweeting out a lot of Mustafi stuff, and it is to mock and satire the Mustafi hate, not legitimate Mustafi hate from us and blame from us. But that said, I'm going to give him a 4.5. I mean, I can't see how I could possibly say he was any better on the season than than Mainsley or Mkhitaryan. I mean, just too many mistakes, too many lack of composure issues with him.